Hello and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be cooking cheese-in Hamburg steak. Now if you don't know what cheese-in Hamburg steak is, I'll show you.
ガストのチーズイン4種のチーズがはみ出てとろけて絡まるのガストのチーズインガストのチーズインガストで今だけ
399円
急いでガスト
Well, that was certainly something. Hamburg steak is a very popular menu item at restaurants in Japan. It's so popular that you can just get it in the refrigerated section of most stores, even convenience stores, in a little bag that you steam. It tastes gross. Don't do that. In fact, I wouldn't even buy it at restaurants because it's not very good. It's okay, but if you make it yourself, it's a million times better. They put this sauce on top of it that it tastes like beef broth and bad A1. So if you make your own sauce, out of this world, and I highly recommend it. It's also gross to buy at restaurants because it always comes with usually okay fried potatoes and terrible spaghetti. So why is the spaghetti terrible? Because the sauce always comes from a bag. You know what? Just come with me right now. Voila! This terrible, terrible sauce in a bag. They just throw it in a microwave, put it in a bowl, and put about maybe 1 or 2 forkfuls of spaghetti with it on your plate with your Hamburg, ruining it. We're not going to use that. So, step 1 is our meat. So, this is meat I bought at the supermarket, kind of expensive. It is actually a mix of ground beef and pork. And unlike a lot of meat in Japan, this is made in country. It was not imported from Australia. It's not that that's more popular, it's just that it's much cheaper because cows are big and there's not that much farmland here. So we're gonna go ahead and unwrap our meat and put it right in the bowl. Fantastic. Some of it spilled, but that's okay. So to this, we're just going to add some salt, some pepper. I like pepper. And some chili powder. I'm a big fan of chili powder on burgers. I think it gives it a lot of really nice flavor. Now you can season this however you want, what you like. If you like very little pepper in your burgers, if you like a lot of salt, if you like to throw in garlic, whatever you want. So now we're just going to mush this together. Alright, there we go. Perfectly seasoned beef. Now, wash your hands. Do not contaminate anything in your kitchen. Wash them immediately after you get meat on them. So I'll be back in a second. Ooh, there we go. Nice, clean hands. So now we have to incorporate the cheese-in part of our cheese-in Hamburg. So I have a plate with some nice cubes, so 3-dimensional rectangles of processed cheese. You can use whatever cheese you want. They always, in commercials for the Hamburg, advertise, oh, 4 cheese filling, 5 cheese filling. It's all processed. It's bad for you anyway. This whole meal is terrible for you, but it is delicious. So, this is going to make 2 burgers. Well, Hamburg steaks. They're not burgers. So, I'm going to just go ahead and scoop it up with our hands. Now, we're going to kind of make that patty shape, and then we're going to take our nice piece of cheese And it goes right in the center, and just kind of press it down. And once that's pressed down, we can go ahead and just fold our meat around it. And perfect. No cheese sticking out. And this will keep its shape and its sort of structural integrity as it cooks. So you don't really have to worry about cheese spilling out or anything. It's going to be nice and gooey, just like in that very strange commercial. I'm going to go ahead and make the second one, and then I will join you at the stove. Absolutely gorgeous. These puppies are ready for some heat. Oh, there's a fire. So we're going to put this into about medium heat. Now, I really want to express the importance of letting your pan heat up. Never just throw on the heat and then toss in your meat. It just will not turn out well. That should be on an apron. Never throw on the heat, then toss in your meat. Let this get warm. Don't throw your hand on it. You'll be able to feel the heat radiate. Just don't go from cold, heat on, throw the meat in. Will always end up terrible. So you can just hang on and safeguard our precious patties while this gets up to temperature. Alright, so our pan is nice and warm. I'm going to take one of our $1 million patties and put it right on. That's what you want. You don't want that, you want that slow build to a sizzle. Because we're not trying to scorch these. We want these to cook very nice and evenly because we have that cheese inside. This is a very gimmicky meal. You won't go to a fancy restaurant and get a cheese in Hamburg. Really because it makes cooking meat a little bit more difficult. But also because it's such a novelty. It's such a gimmicky food. But now that these are on the heat, we can go ahead and put our lid on. Now when you cook burgers, you might not use a lid. I'm using a lid for this because I want even heating all around the burgers. Because we have that processed cheese in the center, and we want that to get nice and gurgly lava hot. And then when we cut into it, it's going to look just like the commercial. So I'm going to leave these here and move on to preparing our sauce. Now that we have the burgers on the stove, we can move our attention towards the sauce. So, as I said before, the sauce that they put on these Hamburg steaks, it's not very good, really. It kind of tastes a lot like beef broth mixed with bad A1. So we're going to make our own. So we're going to put this together and then we're going to cook it down in the juices remaining in the pan once we're done cooking the burger. So we want to start with one onion, very finely cut. I left a little bit of chunks in here because I really like chunks. I'm a big fan of onions. So into the bowl it goes. And then we're going to add in 2 green peppers, also very finely chopped. Next, we're going to add a little bit of pepper. A little bit of salt. A small splash of soy sauce. Only Kikkoman, only the finest soy sauce for this. Just a little bit. Now we're going to add garlic tare. So I choose to use this because I really like the taste of garlic and I really happen to just enjoy this sort of sauce. This is used in yakiniku restaurants or just cooking yakiniku. You can use anything you want. You could use A1, you could use any kind of generic steak sauce, it doesn't matter. It's the fact that we're going to be reducing these onions and peppers in a pan with it, along with those delicious meat drippings. It's gonna make all the difference in the world. So I'm gonna go ahead and add, that's probably good. That would roughly be maybe a 1/4 cup of sauce. And now we'll just stir to combine. It smells heavenly. Yeah, so now once we get this nice amorphous kind of wet thing of vegetables, we're going to be done. So this can actually just sit and wait until the burgers are finished out of the pan, and we'll cook this in the drippings. You can put this together and put it in the fridge and wait, which I recommend doing. If you know you're going to make this dish, I think planning ahead to reduce the amount of stuff you have to do while the burgers are cooking is great, because you should always be watching the stove. Ooh, boy, nothing is as good as the scent of an all-beef burger, I tell you what. So these have been on for about 7 minutes. So now we can go ahead and flip these. Oh, look at that. That's very nice to see. I'm a big fan of those really nice caramelized, fatty, charred areas on burgers. So we can go ahead and cap this again. We really want to save all those meat juices for when we make the sauce. Now, I walked away to make the ingredients for the sauce, to put everything together. I do not recommend doing that. You should always be vigilant with your meat. Also, speaking of meat, I highly recommend that you eat something besides red meat. I don't eat very much red meat because it is pretty objectively bad for you. You could make this with turkey or chicken, or if you really want to go to the trouble of matching up quinoa and black bean, you could do that too. Maybe I can make a future video of that. So I'm just going to go ahead and let these finish up cooking. Alright, pretty as a painting. So we're going to go ahead and take these off and throw it on a plate. Ooh, you can see, we can telemacro this. We got a little bit of cheese oozing out. It's gonna be delicious. So, now that those are plated, we can go ahead and start with making our sauce. So we got all this delicious grease in the pan. So we can just go ahead and add in our ingredients. Just like that. And so kind of stir it around, get all that accumulated, nice fatty, homogeneous mass. Now we're going to turn down the heat slightly and cap this. We want those onions to sweat and release a lot of delicious juices. You could go about this another way by cooking the vegetables with the meat, which I've done before and it's very good, but I think this produces a much more saucy result. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up and then I'll show you the results when I plate. Okay, you can see I have this plated with some nice fried potatoes. So we're gonna go ahead and cut right into this and see if we can get some molten cheese action. Oh, look at that. Oh, that nice goo. All that goop. Oopy doopy. But we're not done. We gotta add the sauce. So this is a lot of refined garlic, onion, and pepper. Just going right on it. And all of it raining down on her. Well, I hope you have fun cooking this dish. I'm going to very much enjoy eating it. But a word of caution, try to limit yourself down to maybe 1 or 2 servings of red meat a week. Health is important, even though it's delicious. Thank you.
Hamburger, you're so crazy. Oh, hamburger, can I be your lady? Oh, hamburger, You're so crazy. Oh, hamburger, can I have your baby?